fire art, it'll go all over the globe, which is makes a lot of sense. We've evolved as a species because we've been able to cook food and keep the fire, and fire tending in cave societies. There's always a fire tender in the society. That's their whole job, is to maintain the fire. And I think the earliest cases of fire dancing are the Maori tribe in New Zealand and fire eating in India. It's usually part martial arts and part meditation and part dance, just like capoeira, and there is fire capoeira too. So I think all cultures throughout history have found a way to really concentrate when manipulating fire, and a way to find your own inner power when you're wielding an element that can be so destructive. And it's often considered a tool of the gods or a spirit of its own. My name is Tara McManus, and I'm a professional fire performer, fire educator, and fire producer.
Fire is originally how humans gathered together. It's the reason humans created communities and tribes. It's the means by which culture was formed. And it's utterly and completely compelling. Nobody can resist fire. Nobody can look away when there's a fire.
My dad was very into burning weird things and seeing what happens, and he would entertain the family by burning plastic bottles, hanging them from poles, and so you could see the streaming plastic come down, and all sorts of toxic things. I didn't know about dancing with fire at the time, but I was always excited about it and very comfortable with it. And I think I got that kind of fearless attitude from my dad, and I started welding when I was 12. So using fire for utilitarian purposes has been part of my upbringing. And I started to see fire performance at parties, at Burning Man parties and at Burning Man. And I went to a festival in Maryland and got to see all the fire performers hanging out, and all the camaraderie and safetying each other, checking in on each other, supporting each other. And that's actually what made me get into it finally. And I have been working as a costume designer for circuses and Halloween costumes. So I got my start trading fire costumes for a fire performer with lessons. And then I started a clothing company called Third Earth Fireproof for fire performers.
Fire to me has always been friend, mother, and lover. It's also been that dangerous thing that once you control it can be your friend, like the white tiger is like an analogy I use all the time. Something which could kill you, but because of your love for it, you and it are bonded. That's what fire is to me. So I've never really feared it. I've been very badly burned, but I've managed to still not fear it even after that. It's a really symbolic element for me, but from a very early age I was fused to it. I was inextricably linked to fire, and it's followed me through my life as well. I've seen the good and the bad sides of it as well. I've almost died in fires that were like nothing to do with me. I've seen destruction more than you could imagine from fire during my lifetime. I've seen riots with entire neighborhoods burned, but I've also seen all the creativity and the beauty and the ritualism of it. I've seen it be at the center of celebrations and ceremonies that are prehistoric all around the world as I traveled, and bringing people together. It's like 70-80% of my life. So if it burns me, it's just like, maybe having a very bad fight with your significant other or your lover or your wife or husband. I mean, you get back up on the horse. It's okay.
Fire is less about a sort of tribalism. There's definitely mysticism involved. For me, the mysticism of fire is very much rooted in fear. Teasing out what exactly is your fear? How do you confront this fear? What do you do to overcome it? How can you sort of confront and play with your fear and somehow move through that to do something constructive with it on the other side?
Tara and those around her could really create a place which galvanizes and unifies and structures the New York fire scene. She would meet with the fire department when she was in my shows every so often, and eventually she was like, can I go straight to them and talk to them about all these different plans? And at first I was like, whoa, it's just not that simple. There's a system. We can't hit them with too much stuff. It's like really obvious that, that she and the people around her that build stuff like this know how to do that kind of thing. It's better for everybody, and it would create an entire scene.
There's science, there's art, there's choreography, there's physical conditioning, there's wellness, and then there's a whole community behind it. And I hope that the audience is just looking at my stage performance and seeing magic. And if they want to get into it, I really will only train people that take it seriously. And that's the balance, is making it look easy, but also really conveying the respect for the flame and the seriousness behind it to people who actually come through the doors of the Floasis and want to do it themselves.